The rumors are true. Men want their homes to look nice too. They always have. They just couldn't come clean about it for a long time. Today we are doing something very special and new that I have not done before. I have taken a room submitted by one of the male subscribers to my channel, and we are going to do a virtual room makeover for him. In addition, this subscriber has sent me inspo images that represent their ideal design style or what they would like the room to kind of feel like, and so we actually have a vision board from the subscriber himself. We're gonna do something really cool. I freaking hope. Here we go. So to be clear, when I talk about design, the principles and the things I find valuable apply to every gender and every creature and every animal on Earth. I don't think there's a ton of differences, but I really wanted to do a space specifically for a specific man so that I could better give advice to designing for his style. Because I have done a few videos on, interior design for bachelors or men. And the one problem I had with those videos is that I didn't have a specific man's design style to design towards. And so I felt like I would always do things that were like neutral for any man. Anytime you're designing just for like one big group of people or like the anonymous everybody, it's not gonna be that interesting. And so I really wanted to have a specific subscriber send me their design style, their design vision, and we're gonna design for it today. Here we go. So in this video, yes, I'm going to talk through the design principles, rules, ideas, tips for designing your own space, but we're also specifically going to look at how to look at your design style, the one you love and would like to have in your home, and translate the different factors of it to your space. I'm also gonna answer a question at the end that I get all the time, which is, what software I use to make these design mockups. I'll give you my answer. In addition, I got a haircut today. You may leave your compliments below. Here we go. Today, we are visiting the room of a subscriber named Andrew. Andrew H here, he writes. He's from somewhere in Vermont. He says, hi, up until recently, I've lived in my parents' basement, but recently moved into a condo. Congratulations, good for you. I've never had to design or furnish so many rooms before, and it's a bit daunting. Came across your channel while browsing for advice, and I've learned a lot about natural light, yes, being patient, yes, and hanging photo frames behind table lamps and even close to the ground. Nice work, Andrew. I live with 2 dogs, so things need to be protected or pretty durable. Excellent, love it. Great cover letter. He's submitted his space and he says his complaints are small living room front entry space. Recently moved into a condo and want the space to feel lived in and curated. I hate the fan, but need the air movement. Okay, hot take, I don't hate a fan. I don't know why people don't like fans. Maybe in an image like on Instagram when you're staring at it, it seems like a big deal. But when I'm in a room, I'm never bothered by a fan. Not that much. This one seems fine. I would say stop worrying about it. You're good. This room is now empty and painted Wimborne white. Hoping to have some seating and a small upright piano in the space, but not sure of orientation, wall decor, rug, lighting, sconce placement. Help! He also sent some pictures of his dogs. Let me say this to everybody. Don't ever, ever send me a photo of your dog without telling me the name. This is a disgrace. I want to know the name of that dog. They're hugging each other. I appreciate the photos, Andrew, but I am disappointed that you did not tell us their name. We're gonna come back and diagnose the space, but first we're gonna jump over to his inspo board. The main reasons I picked Andrew is 2 things, as a lesson to all the viewers. He sent a bunch of photos of his space, a bunch of clear, well-lit photos where you can see everything different angles. That's really important for doing these mock-ups for a video. And he sent a bunch of photos of his design style. And that is really helpful for me. It's also really helpful for you in designing your space. Because if you send me one image, it might be a really cool space, but it can leave some questions as to what exactly you're drawn to in there. But when you send me 3, 4, 7, I feel like I know. I can see the commonalities and it will be easier for you too. So I really suggest working with at least 3 inspo photos in order to best translate that style to your space. If you need help doing that process, help kind of defining your design taste. I made a whole video on that. It walks through all the steps to end up with a cohesive design style for your vision board. Yeah, it's amazing. So you should watch it. Subscribe because the content is that good. So before we diagnose Andrew's room, let's just name the themes we're seeing across these design images that made Andrew select them. Number one thing you gotta look at and people overlook is square footage. These are nice sized rooms, but they're not overly expansive. And that is important because he's not dealing with an overly expansive space in his condo. Sometimes you'll notice, like, and I do it too, saving images of like a palatial estate where one of the design factors is how open it is, how grand it is. Someone's walking up my front steps. What are you doing? Do I know you? What do you need, sir? Okay, I don't know what that's about. Okay, and obviously it's okay to take design inspiration from, you know, palatial estates or chateaus, but if you only have like palace-like images on your inspo board and you don't live in a palace, it is unlikely that you are going to end up with the style you're seeing. Color-wise, I'm seeing a lot of primary colors in like a moody tone. So red, blue, yellow, and then there's a couple lower saturation colors or two to balance out all those bold tones, meaning there is a lot of color in these rooms. Great, love it. Look at the artwork in these images. What do you notice? They are all large. It is size over quantity. It is not a lot of artworks, it's just a few and they are large. So if Andrew goes and puts up a little gallery wall with dinky small guys, it is not gonna feel the same. Let me tell you right now. You gotta pay attention to these things. Styling, I would say the styling is layered. It's layered, but it's not overwhelming. And I'm seeing these rooms usually have like one condensed surface area that is more cluttered and more styled. It looks like it's usually a coffee table, a side table. So it's like they're choosing one space to go hard on the styling, but then other than that, there's a lot of negative space. Okay. You also want to pay attention to like what's the balance of patterned stuff versus solid colored stuff. I would say it's mostly solids, but there's usually at least one pattern in here. That helps to keep it interesting, but it's still pared down, not overwhelming. Great, love it. There's a good mix of natural elements. I'm gonna say it's mostly wood pieces. I'm seeing medium to medium dark toned woods. So given that, Andrew, don't let me catch you buying an oak table or that like whitish mango wood. I'm not seeing it in your images. It's just gonna take you away. Medium to medium dark wood. There's lots of textiles. I love that. We're talking drapes, we're talking rugs, we're talking upholstered furniture, okay? All upholstered sofas. Do not go and buy a leather couch. It's not gonna help. There's a tasteful plant or two, just a little dash of life, but it's not a full-on nursery. Then as far as the furniture itself, I would say these are very contemporary furniture profiles for the most part. It's kind of simple designs. It's not overly ornate. They're not period pieces, except maybe some mid-century. There's some traditional. But most importantly, if there's something that's like very mid-century, it is paired with something contemporary or traditional. So the key here is not like I have to get a mid-century sofa or I have to get a traditional one. No, it's about the balance. So if you find a sofa that's mid-century, know that you probably want to pair it with a traditional or a contemporary side table. And if you get a sofa that is more traditional, you probably want to get a mid-century side table. Okay? Okay, now that we have diagnosed the factors that seem to make up Andrew's images, let's go back and look at his room and see where the room lines up with each of those factors. So square footage, I think it's great. Decent sized space, it's got enough for a few sitting options. Love it. Plants, yep, there's a tasteful plant or two, a little bit of plantery going on, love to see it. Textiles, yeah, he's got some textiles going on here. Curtain rug, throw pillows, blanket, the colors are off. Solids versus patterns. There is actually some pattern in the rug and curtains, but they're not really doing that much because they're both kind of just like this whitish gray at the end of the day. So it's not really actually adding much interest. Wood, yeah, there's actually a good balance of wood accents, color tone. Yeah, I would say this TV stand looks like cheap plastic. It doesn't look like it's probably real wood. It's also that like grayish, you know, MDF or whatever. But side table, other table, I'll take it. Even that little wood detail by the stair, I'll take it. It's character. Now, the things that are missing that he'll need to get him closer to his design style. He did say that he painted the room white. That's great. He said Wimborne white. I'm Googling that. Okay, that is a Pharaoh and Ball warm white. I love that. Pharaoh and Ball. You fancy, Andrew. You fancy as hell. Couldn't be me. Stuff's expensive. Love to see it. Primary colors. Nope. No, I would say the color palette is all off. No variation in the color palette. Artwork, wall art, very small. We're gonna have to move that. Fun pops of color, false. Contemporary furniture profiles, false. No, these are just lazy boys as far as I can tell, or something similar. Styling, there's not much, not very layered, pretty minimal. Great. This is a great blank canvas. Andrew, I think this is a great space. I chose your room because I'm obsessed with your design vision. I think this is so fun. Let's freaking design it, dog. All right, we're getting into the actual design process. And with all of these, you know, design recommendations, you don't have to do all of these things. I'm gonna complete a full room makeover for you, but pick and choose what you feel up for. I'm not telling you you have to get new furniture. This stuff gets expensive, and most people update their space a thing at a time. So do it at whatever rate works for you, and hopefully it's helpful to you, Andrew, if you're watching. You better be, and also to the viewers to carry into your own home. Here we go. Okay, so to start out, let's just clear out this space to start. There's not that much going on in here. Maybe we can use that side table and stuff, but clear out the space. Let's paint the walls Wimborne white. Very fancy, love it. So if we are keeping the white walls, we wanna be mindful of other ways that we can add in some pops of that bold color, and get that layered feeling. So I want to start by seeing if we could add pops of color in anywhere. There's no crown molding, but there's baseboard trim. I'm gonna say let's just paint it this dark red. This like dark bold red appears in so many of his inspo images. Let's go for it. Now while designing this, I did experiment with also painting the window trim, but I know on a window like this, you would only be able to paint the outside frame, and you can't really paint the inside, you know, on the actual window itself. You're not really supposed to paint that. So I would just say let's not. I think it's gonna look weird and clunky. We'll probably cover that window with some drapes anyway. I would probably leave the window, but hit that door. Please, let's hit that door. And let me tell you what, painting a door or painting trim feels scary for some reason, scarier than painting walls, but it's not. It's the same as painting other stuff. You can paint it back. And it's gonna be so cute, Andrew. This is a pep talk I have to give to myself because sometimes I feel afraid to paint doors, but it can be done. There comes a time in every YouTuber's life where they have to make an apology video, and I guess today is the day for me. So I just want to take a quick break from the video to formally apologize for looking so freaking cute. And that's in part thanks to Quince, who is sponsoring this video. Everything I'm wearing right now is from Quince. If you haven't heard of them, this bird feeder keeps hitting me and that's annoying. I needed a couple outfits for like summer vacation, Caroline, and I'm just obsessed with the maxi skirts this summer, completely obsessed with them. This one is a poplin skirt, which means it's like a little more structured. What is really high quality to me is this thick waistband. That is very, very flattering. It's not gonna like, some maxi skirts pinch in on your stomach or like they create a roll there. I just love the line that this makes, and the blue color is so freaking classy if I do say so myself. This is like a ribbed knit top. What do I need to say? It's freaking adorable. It looks like I drink wine with lunch. Maybe I own a business? I do. Okay, this is where I really need to apologize because this is my favorite freaking skirt, maybe that I've ever owned. It's Quince's washable silk. I literally just washed this, threw it in the dryer, and it dried, got all the wrinkles out. It's amazing. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Look at this buttery yellow. It is literally 109 degrees in DC. It is 109 degrees right now. And I will put this on any day to go over to the park, put on like a little t-shirt, something more casual, but then it's the easiest going out outfit and it takes zero effort. Let's switch it over to my new vacay pants. These are 100% linen. Again, a nice little cinch waist. And they're just so comfy, perfect for the beach. I'm heading to a family beach week tomorrow. I'm freaking so excited. And I got these specifically, like these are my beach week pants. I feel like I can lounge in these getting coffee, but you can also do a little sightseeing, touring in them. And a great thing with Quince is they really prioritize organic materials and timeless designs. So everything you've seen me put on stands the test of time, both in quality of materials and the designs. The silhouettes are very timeless. Y'all know I'm a little freak, and by that I mean a gym freak. This is their Ultraform high-rise legging. Fits great, snatches great, and it's such a pretty light blue color. I like it so much I ordered a matching workout bra top, like a scoop neck top. Another great thing about Quince, they have free shipping on all orders, and they have 365 days for returns. So there's nothing to lose. You try it, you have 365 days to return it. You're not going to want to, because I just feel great in all their pieces. I feel snatched. I feel ready to pop the butt. I can't stop doing this today. You guys know I can't resist a chance to pop the butt. Justin's laughing at me. Another item I just got are their 100% European linen pillowcase set. I also got a sheet set. It's breathable, it's light, it's like that effortless look. It can be wrinkly and it still looks correct. And I love the piping detail. It just puts, it's like putting a frame on your artwork. I really love Quince because they have really great prices, but they still strive for sustainable packaging, organic materials, and ethical business practices. And they also work directly with the factories, same factories as many luxury brands, but they're cutting out the middleman. So you're not just paying for somebody's billboard in Soho, you're paying for actual clothes, and then you're cute like me. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend Quince. They really delivered high quality, timeless, great materials. There's links for all of the items I showed in the description of this video. And there's 365 days returns. Like, there's no way to lose. I really know you're gonna love them. They really delivered. Now in a room like this, I would start with choosing a couch or a rug. You can really go either way, but I actually might start with looking for a sofa first, because you have some color preferences and also because you have some furniture style preferences. So that might be the harder thing to find. So I might start with finding a sofa you love and then kind of let your other decisions be influenced around that. There are a bunch of different options based on your budget. If you want to go expensive, you can go somewhere like Interior Define. I do feel like they're a little pricey, but if you bought Ferrum Ball paint, I don't know, maybe you're a king. But personally, what I would prefer to do, and actually would probably be more affordable, is to buy a sofa. Even if you said Facebook Marketplace is bad where you live, like, people have sofas. It doesn't have to be that interesting. You can just get a cool upholstery. You could even do like an IKEA couch and get it reupholstered, and it would still be cheaper than Interior Define. So it just depends like how much work you want to put in. That's a medium route that will probably cost you less. Upholsterers can do really cool things. Like, if the sofa's like really beat and depressed, they can fluff it back up. They can add more cushioning. They can change the legs. Like, they can change the back and the arms. Like, they can do really cool things. And it could still come out less than the cost of like this high-end route. Or you can go the lower budget route of doing like an IKEA sofa or something like that. Just make sure it's in a great color that works with your color palette. These are a couple different Interior Define ones that I thought would all work well. I actually think this blue one with the thin stripe would kind of work for your style very well. I found this guy, which is kind of like a cool wrap arm over the end, a little bit of a wood frame. I think this would work very well with your style. I experimented with a couple different colors, but let's smack it with like a soft ochre. It looks weird right now, but it's gonna get good. Now, layout-wise, I'm gonna suggest putting that sofa actually with its back to the windows. Maybe it'll feel weird for a second, but it is a very normal thing to do. And you can keep that other love seat or whatever where it is. Do not keep that love seat, but get another one. Keep a love seat where it currently is. But I also think you could move it to the other wall. So you have two sofas, and you could get a bigger sofa then, that are facing each other. This is gonna feel much more like a welcoming sitting area that doesn't have like a sofa back to your entryway. It's not the end of the world to do that, but I think this is going to feel a lot more welcoming. And you can still put your TV up on that wall. Some people are totally okay with like having two sofas and the TV on that wall. Some people don't like it for their neck, which I get. So in that case, maybe do that L. and keep the love seat where it originally was. But I just think this is gonna open up your space way nicer. It's gonna be a way better sitting area, and we don't have to focus the whole area around the TV, but you can still watch the TV. Now we can add in our rug, and so far we've done solid color couch, a very, very light pattern, just a thin stripe on the other couch. So let's bring in that pattern on the rug. And you had almost all patterned rugs. At first I found this one, which I think is a good affordable option, but then I found this one, which is even better. I love it. I'm obsessed with this rug. And you don't have to get specifically this rug, but I do think that a Persian or hand-knotted rug in some non-traditional colors. So not the deep, deep cherry red or like blue, but you know, this kind of has like a little bit of purple, a little bit of green, a little bit of peach maybe. Yeah, and some kind of like colors that are a little bit off. If you're worried about like dogs getting on stuff, you want to go with a pattern. You don't want to go with a solid colored rug or like a white rug or a black rug, honestly, because black shows hair really easily. Yeah, I would just go with a pattern. It's the most forgiving by far. Or if that's like too stressful for you, do the washable rug route. So many companies offer washable rugs now, and they can still be like pretty soft and really easy to wash. All right, let's evaluate where we're at right now. We got some nice seating. We've opened up the space a little. We have some mid-century, some solid colors, and a little bit of pattern. I think we need more colors in here. And I think I want to do one of those softer tones. So let's talk about drapes. The drapes will be nice because Andrew has drapes featured in all of the images he sent, and it'll be nice to kind of cover that window a little bit. Yeah, I think painting the window frame will just look a little clunky because it'll still have that white interior, you know what I mean? So I experimented with some blue drapes. It's a little boring. I think the blue is fine, but since his vision board included like a very eclectic color palette, there were a lot of colors in each room. I'm gonna say let's just bring in a totally new color, which is so fun. Kaboom. I'm having a great time. This is when I started loving the space. It's gonna get really good. Just stay with me, it's gonna get really good. If you want, we can go ahead and throw a little Roman shade, maybe a fabric one that kind of pulls up. This is a specific one from an Etsy shop where the seller makes custom fabric Roman shades, including this material. You can order from her for your own window size. Beautiful. I love getting curtains from Etsy. I feel like they always, it's just nice because they can customize it. And the sellers have always been great, everybody I've used. I'm gonna link as much stuff as I can, by the way. Okay, now we got a big blank wall. It's not feeling lived in yet. It's not that cozy yet. Looking at his images again, there's often a lot of books. And books, like a lot of books, chunked up on bookshelves or a bookcase, it's just like instant cozy, instant lived in. You know what? You don't even have to be literate. It really, I'm not gonna call the police on you. It just feels great. You know, everybody who has books up is lying anyway, because we're not reading them a ton more after the fact, okay? Maybe you read it once, maybe read it twice. Some freaks read it a few more times. Justin. But for the most part, it's decor whether you've read it or not. It just ends up being used as decor, so it's okay. I'm gonna say let's throw some bookshelves. Let's just make it real cozy, dog, and throw some bookshelves up there. You could go a very affordable route and just get some wood bookshelves, IKEA, whatever. What color wood? Medium to medium dark. These aren't bad, this would work, and is probably very affordable, but they are a little heavy. It becomes a little overbearing. So I think if you wanna upgrade, something a little more mid-century, with a little more airiness to it could be really nice. And then giving you, you know, that little cabinet on the bottom. I really like these guys. And there's, you know, a million different versions of this that you can find. Okay, now let me tell you what you are not allowed to do for your space, based on your vision board, Andrew, is we're not doing this kind of styling. We're not doing this kind of bookshelf styling of like a jar, a vase, and a ball of beads, and books stacked this way, 3 of them, and then a big gap. No, we're not doing that. We are covering those shelves in books. We are covering them. A lot of these are modular shelving. I would get one where you can like not have a center space, and your TV can go right there, okay? So the TV is still there. Everyone can see it. It doesn't have to be the one and only focal point of the room, but also if we want to watch a movie, it can be the focal point. Again, if you don't like to turn, you can bring the sofas more into an L and make it kind of like a corner sectional instead. But I think this is a really nice way to integrate it. Medium tones, wood, mid-century, chill, cozy, lived in. See, the vision is emerging, it's emerging. The other thing, when I was looking specifically at this shelving unit, it is modular. I know you said you wanted a piano. I don't know the dimension of your space, but I'm guessing there's a way you could put your piano in there betwixt two shelving units flanking it. I think that is very possible. And if it doesn't fit there, then I would say go ahead and slap it on that other wall where you kind of have an entry table right now. And if we've opened up the space now with these parallel sofas, then like that space is more included in the room. That is what I would do if it doesn't fit between bookshelves. Okay, we are going to move on to a coffee table. The coffee tables in your images are often like a contemporary piece, something that gets a little weird. Let's do something fun and weird. Let's do that medium toned wood. Yeah, it's not quite mid-century, but it's a little, you know, it's updated, it's contemporary, but kind of a simple profile. Now, I think we can definitely use your side table in this space. I would use it as one of your end tables still. Maybe it can go in the corner on one end. Well, it can go wherever, obviously. But if you also want to buy some new side tables, I think we could slap in a kind of funky little round guy on one end. I think would be nice because there are a lot of rectangles going on. Keep your eye on your rectangles. Don't overdo it. Throw in a roundo. Yeah, maybe one round side table and then one that's kind of sculptural, modern. I think this is a cool guy with all the different levels. You don't have to buy two new ones. You could just buy one, but I would give at least each sofa a side table. Now, I am really loving this layout. It feels so much more open to me, so much more welcoming. Like it literally, it's like the current pulling you in. It pulls you right in. Now let's talk about lighting and wall art. Remember what we said about wall decor. Literally, let's go back and look at these images. We've got one large piece, two large pieces, one large piece, four large pieces, one large piece, one large piece, one large piece. Do not buy a small piece. Do not buy a small piece. And it does not have to be ridiculously expensive. And let me remind you that buying a bunch of small pieces or small frames can also be expensive. I would just really, really recommend that you and like so many more people watching this video get a giant piece. Get a giant piece. I do love websites like Minted, where you can order by all individual different artists. There's sketches, there's paintings, there's photography, and it's a print, so it's more affordable. People always ask about this front piece in my entryway. It's a print from Minted, and it's maybe my favorite thing I own. What's also nice about Minted, not sponsored by Minted at all, but they are welcome to sponsor me, please contact my people, is you can also buy the frame with the print, and you can get them in any sizes, like a 4-inch guy or like a 4-foot guy. So you can really customize it. I'm gonna say this room probably just needs one giant guy. Let's do it right over the sofa, dog. Right over that sofa. Bring in some more some sunset-y colors, I think would be nice. I might set that art piece a little off-center. I think that's going to give you a bit of this curated modern feel. So a little cheat code, if everything is a mirror image and everything's symmetrical, it will feel more traditional. It doesn't matter what furniture styles you have, it doesn't matter nothing. It will just immediately feel more traditional. And if you make things a little asymmetrical, a little off balance, it will feel a little more modern. And I personally like to have a balance of both. So we've got symmetrical sofas and we've got some off-kilter art. And I think that's appropriate because Andrew likes a mix of both. And then there is that nice negative space on the side of the art. We want to let the room breathe. We've seen that in his vision board a lot, but I do think we could throw a little wall sconce up there. Let's make it metal. Let's make it colorful. Let's get a weird shape if we can. A deep red that will pick up from the trim work. It's feeling cute. It's feeling cute as hell. We need some lamps. I'm gonna say try not to turn on that overhead fan light that much. Just try not to. You can use the fan, but you don't need the fan light. So in a given room, how many sources of light do we need? Correct, we need 3. That is the ideal. So we've got a sconce. Let's slap the side table with a lamp, and then maybe another table lamp, or you could do a floor lamp. Love, love, love. This is feeling great to me. So I think the final things we need are to bring back in his plants. Andrew had 2 nice plants. I think that's perfect. I don't think he needs more according to his vision board. I like that they're different heights, different sizes, not overly flowery, just nice and green. That also matches his vision board. Plants have a vision too, just remember that. I think if we've got his side table over in the corner, we could put his tall floor plant up on that, and then it's almost like tree height and get some nice height there. Okay, the little guy was hanging in the window. A personal opinion, I don't like that. And that's just a personal preference, but I also kind of want to make it a rule. I feel like it defies some design principles that I can't fully articulate. A bunch of plants in the window and like covering it and making it like a layer, that's okay maybe, but just one dingle dangle, it just feels random to me. I'm also gonna say, let's give it a new pot. Boom, adorable. Oh, look at this plant. This is my new hack. I didn't have a pot for this guy, and I was like, oh, I have to go buy a pot, Then I never had time, and then I ended up putting it in this antique, genuine silver bowl, and I think that's so cute. And if I'd actually bought a pot, I would never have discovered that, see? I got creative. I love that so much. I congratulate myself. Another important feature we haven't touched on too much is the layering. Now there is layering with furniture, things behind things, stuff behind stuff, rug, drapes, blah, blah, blah. But we need some more textiles in here, and these couches are feeling naked. Choosing throw pillows can make a huge difference, and you don't have to do a detailed mock-up the way I do, but I would even just like drag images into like a Google Doc or something and see what the colors look like together before you buy. Or if you like want to try it in person, say you have your ochre couch in person and you have like a dark green hoodie, wrap your hoodie over an existing pillow and like put it on, see how it looks. You just got to try it out because we kind of want a color combo here that surprises us. So at first I was trying like a deeper red. Nah, I wasn't really liking how it looked with the curtains. It just didn't add that much interest. Then I thought he's got some stripes in here. Maybe we want to bring in a lighter stripe. Nah, I don't like one that matches the sofa. Maybe a green stripe. It's okay, not that interesting. And I'm realizing I just missed that red. And then to balance it, let's bring in a little blue. I'm liking it. We need some kind of textured throw, and we can certainly do the same to the other sofa. If you do pursue a cohesive style for your whole home, then ideally you should be able to swap things in and out of different rooms, you know? If you also like try and execute this style in your bedroom, you should be able to move stuff around, and then you kind of get to redecorate every week if you want to, if you buy things that are like cohesive through the home. Okay, girl, bro, we need our styling moment. So I'm gonna say with the coffee tables, you've got these stacks of books going on a lot. I say just go with that. That seems nice. You can throw a little bowl or two on there if you feel so inclined. I like that. This is looking great to me. Look at this space. This is when I compliment myself. Listen, I put a lot of work into this room. I get a compliment myself now. Genuinely, thank you for sending this vision board, Andrew, because I probably would never have come up with a room like this on my own. It was so nice to be like forced to try in a different direction and get more creative. It's good for all of us. Like designing in a blank room is really, really difficult. I'm actually feeling stumped in my own home right now. I'm like, well, I could do a bunch of things, but Andrew came in with a really clear, really specific, narrowed down vision. And then it was just fun to design. And you got so many different colors that you like and are open to. So I say start with whatever piece feels hardest to you to nail down, probably the sofa. And then you can go from there. And if you get one really nice custom or vintage or upholstered sofa, you can do high-low with everything else. I recommend high-low for everybody's space, meaning you get some pieces that you put in the money to invest in, and then others you can do more of a budget item. But when you put the high and low together, the high elevates the low a bit. And if you do all low, 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 if you do all IKEA, it's gonna look like all IKEA. But if you do a cool custom wood frame vintage sofa upholstered in your favorite fabric next to like a cool color IKEA sofa, it's just gonna look like cool, okay? So high-low, remember that. You don't have to overspend and max out on every single thing, but choose a few areas where you're excited to do that and feels comfortable for you to do that right now. Now, as promised, people always ask how I make these design mock-ups. So I just use Photoshop, which you do have to pay for Photoshop, but there's other things like Canva or any kind of graphic design software that you can probably use for this. There's really just a couple things I do in Photoshop. You can drag in different images and warp them to get closer to a realistic space. I'm not a Photoshop pro at all. There's only a few like moves I do, but I find it really helpful for kind of vetting a vision that you have for your space. So a few moves you want to know. I might copy an image, drop it in there, remove the background. If it's an easy shape like that, Photoshop does a pretty good job of doing it. Sometimes you have to get in there and like, you know, give it a little manual help. And then distorting images. So like this sofa doesn't look like it's quite in the right spot for the angle we're looking at. So sometimes I just try and distort it a little bit, make it feel at least a little more tilted towards the space. Let's bring that coffee table up front. Or if we want to bring in, you know, a bookshelf, copy paste this guy in there. Remove background. It has a little bit of a harder time with thin layers, see? So let's get that shelf included. Cool. And if we want to get it up against that wall, so let's flip stuff around and then follow the lines of the ceiling to get the right angle. Let's get it behind that stuff. Cool. And put this rug guy in and distort it to follow the lines of the room. To make it even look more realistic, you might want to add like shadows. Adding a shadow behind this bookcase will just help it look a bit more like it's actually in the space. You can add a shadow to this. Cool. Okay, here, like I've placed in a pillow, but it's kind of not layered behind the sofa, so we can cut that out. Great, now it's on the sofa. And then the other thing I do a lot of is stamping. So it's this little stamp tool, and that's like if I'm trying to remove, you know, just make this a blank wall, so we can start putting other stuff up against it. You kind of like click to one area, and you stamp it over. So I'm taking like this green paint of the wall and of the wood and carrying it down. You do want to be careful to like get the right tone, because if I take from over here and stamp it up there, it's going to be really dark. So, you know, the results of this are they're not perfect. It doesn't look just like a photo of the room, but it helps a lot with clarifying a design idea. And now if we want to take our upright piano, we want to find a picture of the piano basically front on. And then like you can see that needs to be behind everything a little bit. So another thing you can do is like copy, paste the base photo, cut out this part so that the TV and the sofa will go over top. And then that peeks through. Cool. So that's what I do. If you don't want to do mock-ups like this, I don't think it's necessary. Some people just like drag, you know, a bunch of photos into a Google Doc and you could just see the photos next to each other. Does it feel cohesive? You can get a good idea of like a mood board that way too. Other than that, you can always submit your space in the form below if you want to be considered. Best way to get chosen is to have a fun interior design style that you aspire to, and to include lots of examples of the design style and lots of photos, clear photos of your space. Wide angles, we're talking wide angles, y'all. Yes, please. And I'll see you back here soon. Mwah.